XIV. Aloha and welcome back, buddies. I am Sammy, Grayson, and it is time for more Dawntrail. We're at the halfway point in the story, so I want to finish up this role quest before we move on, because we still have a Justiciar to find. Kokose, I hope you have been well. Since last we spoke, the Justiciar has been busy felling fiends all across Davnir, leaving a trail of witnesses behind in his wake. More than a few have reported seeing stones falling from the sky, which all but confirms our theory that the treasure is causing the phenomenon. The stories share one more peculiar commonality. It seems the pest he hunts have all been of the seedkin variety. Why he avoids beasts of flesh and blood is yet a mystery. It bears mentioning that each of these eyewitness accounts came from people who were rescued by the Justiciar, who invariably appears just as these creatures attack. In fact, the Justiciar has been there to save the day in every single instance of seedkin-related mischief. Awfully suspicious, if you ask me. I'm not the only one who thinks so. Some among the Radiant House have suggested that the Justiciar is planning these assaults somehow, so he alone can reap the glory from thwarting them. I agree and think that this should be our next avenue of investigation. Many of these incidents occurred near the Giant Skull grounds, so we should start our search there. If we can find one of these monstrous planets before it finds hapless prey, we may be able to shed light upon the Justiciar's methods. Time is of the essence, so let's leave at once. Giant Skull grounds. What the fuck is that? That is an armored as hell tortoise. Full pedal alchemist. Oh my god. Any moving bushes? Slithering vines? Not here in any case. I'll search the western path. Why don't you search east? If you see something, don't strike to kill. Weaken it, then capture with this rope. We'll learn much more from a live specimen. Ah, a little marble. You know what'll weaken it? A bonk on the head. You gotta get it all the way down. There we go. Got it. See plenty of fauna roaming about, but the flora all seems to be of the rooted to the ground variety. Perhaps my hunch was incorrect. Well, you're in luck. Not even an aurochs could break free from the knots binding this marble seedling. You found one! In fact, this is exactly as an eyewitness described. Why don't you keep it for the time being? Bring it to the Great Work, and I'll ask my acquaintance there to examine it with all haste. Back to the great work. I love that you can actually see it from here. I didn't realize it before, but man, that place is big. Either that or it's just that the buildings are big. Because usually we're down there. Although that does bear the question now, is up here a building we can actually go into, I wonder? No, it is not. Okay. I was hoping to look around, but whatever. Hello. Mistress Tepeke told me what to expect. Now then, let's see the thing. Here you go. Oh, I didn't expect it to be so diminutive. If Mistress Tepeke's intuition is correct... Oh. If Mistress Tepeke's intuition is correct, then I expect some interesting discoveries are in store. It brought me quite the fascinating specimen indeed. I can say for certain that this creature's growth isn't natural in the slightest. Biologically, it's still but a sapling, as you can tell by its size. Yet it is the result of a specific alchemical mixture which is used to spur the growth of seeds and mycelium to an unnatural degree. The agents have a side effect of making the creatures more aggressive, which explains why such a small specimen so boldly attacked beings larger than itself. It's being egged on, in other words. Yet the solution requires ingredients most rare, and the cost of procuring enough to synthesize it would be beyond the means of most. So whoever is behind this, they are likely well healed. So the creatures themselves, if they were all grown artificially, perhaps that explains why most of the incidents involved small seedkin. Rather than wait for them to mature naturally, the Justiciar must have accelerated their growth so that he could deploy huge numbers over a short span of time. In fact, his plan likely requires that they be small, weak foes in order to guarantee his victory. After all, the great Justiciar can hardly be expected to bear the blemish of defeat. The new details brought to light, it's almost certain he's staging these attacks on the common folk. Now we have a new perspective to guide our search. Perhaps you should return to Yedlimad. I heard the Justiciar is the talk of the village, and they doubtless have stories to share. A splendid idea. Thank you. Your findings have brought us a step closer to unmasking that villain. Let's hurry to Yedlimad. The more accounts we have of the Justiciar, the better our chances of predicting his next move. And porting to Yedlimad. I've got a few people to talk to. Rest assured, the Radiant Host are well aware of the Justiciar. Every day we receive more reports of him combating beasts in the surrounding wilderness. His encounters are never on well-traveled roads, it seems. They occur in remote regions that we scarcely patrol, along routes that are only used by a small number of merchants and portals. We've concluded that the Justiciar either has uncommon knowledge of the behavioral patterns of these creatures, or that he keeps close company with a merchant who travels these obscure paths. So he's just doing shit on the side and going, yo, I'm a hero. Oh, you're hungry to learn more of the Justiciar? He's amazing. I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of him on the road leading here, facing down a fearsome creature. I don't know how he did it, but he called down rocks from the sky to knock that thing flat. The Radiant Hosts were away on patrol, so if he hadn't come to our rescue, that brute would have marched right into our homes. He shouted that he was the savior of Razat Han and even waved at me. Oh, he looked so impressive with the sun shining behind him. motherfucker trying to act the hero. Eh? Don't tell me you've come chasing that half-baked savior. The younglings might be taken in by his honey words, but anyone with experience can say that he's nothing but a charlatan, and I have a story to prove it. A merchant I know took a tumble as he was transporting his goods. Not long after comes the Justiciar, looking chivalrous as you please, in his shining armor. But did he offer a helping hand? No, he ran off with nary a glance backwards. You may go on about slaying beasts, but a real hero would never ignore someone in need, even if they were just suffering from a scraped knees and a bruised ego. And boop. Kokose, do you have a moment? I'm having a little trouble here. I sought this merchant out because I was told he dealt with the alchemists in the Great Work. I thought he might know something about the Justiciar, but when I asked, he's been like this ever since. Apologies, I was just surprised that you would ask me about that madman. What connection could he possibly have with me? The fiends he fights are grown with rare alchemical materials, and we think he might be staging these encounters. Since you deal in such wares, I wondered if you might know how he came into their possession. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never spoken to the man. I very much doubt that. Perhaps he'll be more receptive to questioning from you, Kokose. You seem to have intimate knowledge of trade routes and alchemy. Who taught him, I wonder? Come now, any merchant with a nose for profit has good relations with the alchemists. By your way of thinking, any one of us could be in league with Virazan. Virazan, you said? Who is that, may I ask? Huh? What? Did I? No, that's my name. Look at them big kitty eyes. God damn it. I'd be a fool to continue this charade any longer. My son Virazan is the one you know as the Justiciar. To be suddenly confronted with his litany of misdeeds, I quite lost my composure. You're his father? Then do you know how he came into possession of such rare materials and knowledge? Aye, he stole them from me. The most valuable materials are my precious maps. And I was the one who chose to hide that fact, and I bear the blame for the consequences. What can you tell us about him as a person? Virazan was obsessed with tales of legendary heroes, even from a young age. Paid a great deal of money to have him tutored in the art of the bow. He became quite skilled at it, in fact, but not quite as skilled as his arrogance led him to believe. Due to this, and perhaps a lack of ambition, he never aspired to true greatness. Instead, he came to rely upon fanciful equipment and exotic potions rather than honing what skill he had. It pained me to see him fall into dissoluteness, but he would brook no counsel. So, several years ago, I gave him enough coin to support his lavish lifestyle and told him never to speak with me again. He didn't, until but recently when he darkened my doorstep once more. And that was when he stole your goods. Aye, although I would have willingly given them if he had but asked. He was rambling almost incoherently, saying that his heroic deeds as the Justiciar had caught the eye of someone named Apiahi, leader of the Passage of the Unbound, whoever they are. He claimed that under the guidance of his newfound allies, he had obtained a great power. Power enough to eclipse all heroes who have come before and shall come after, as he put it. It seems he gives what money he still has to these people. To think that for all his fanciful words, he has only deigned to grasp at hollow glory, all at the expense of rats at Han. There's no greater shame as a father. Given what we know of the shadowy group, they most likely aim to sow discontent through Virazan's deeds. He may be so blinded by his own desire for adoration that he can't see whose hands are pulling his strings. You're saying that he's being used? If that's true, then I can no longer remain silent, despite what shame it may bring. I see now that sharing my story might be the only way to save my son. Indeed, I suggest you tell the Radiant host at once. Of course, we'll be putting our every effort into stopping him. Thank you for giving me direction. I didn't imagine our meeting would end this way. Truth be told, I'm not entirely unsympathetic towards Virazan. I basked in my father's reflected glory while having none of my own to speak of. The glory Virazan seeks is similarly false. I too shall visit the Radiant Host and have them spread word of the Justicar's true nature. If the people are wise to its trickery, they will be far more likely to aid us. He'll soon learn that a legend built on lies is no match for true heroism. Huh. 96. Greetings, Kakose. Virazan's father's been as good as his word, and has confessed the truth of his son's actions to whomever will listen. Even among the younglings, far fewer sing the Justicar's praises. The tide is turning in our favor at last, and the Radiant Host are making ready to tighten the net. Speaking of which, they had curious news to share. They have been examining the stones left behind by the Justicar and noticed a pattern. They were all varieties of rock commonly found near the site of each encounter. For instance, near the Giant Skull grounds, the Justicar seemed to have called down a hail of what else but Giant Skull. I have my own theories about what this means, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, Kakose. Safe to say the artifact doesn't create rocks from nothing. Indeed, the perch at the apex likely lifts whatever stones are nearby and brings them crashing down to Earth. If our suspicions are correct, we're one step closer to unraveling its mysteries. But despite these favorable developments, the Justicar's popularity remains a problem. Even with the recent blow to his credibility, his most ardent followers still idolize him. In fact, I hear he's handing letters to the youth of Rajat Han, but their contents are a closely guarded secret. All the more reason to investigate, don't you think? Once we get to Rajat Han, if I question people around the marketplace, could you cover the city's western quarter? That's where his younger followers tend to gather. After we've collected enough information, let's meet to share our findings. See you again in Rajat Han, Kakose. Right, to the city. Yep. Rip. Off to the fight. Hello. The Justicar gave me that invitation himself, only for some thief to snatch it right out of my hand. Huh? You believe in the Justicar too? I didn't have a chance to read the whole letter before it was stolen, but he's gathering his most devoted for a special audience. The bastard who stole my invitation is clearly up to no good. He even muttered something about getting revenge. Who could hate someone so noble? Hello. Oh, you're the one who's always following that Tepeke around. I heard she's spreading rumors about the city's savior. I won't let her harm his reputation any more than she already has, so I have nothing to say to her lapdog. Downcast, you. Yeah, I know about the letters. My friends didn't get one, though. Grown-ups get angry if we talk about the Justicar. But guess what? I heard Zashel talking about him over by Myriad's Mayhain. He had a big grin on his face, too. Does that mean the Justicar isn't a bad man like the grown-ups say? Time to head over to the Mayhain, it looks like. Bing, 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 bing. Hello. And hello to you too, good sir. It's true what they say. Fool and his gill are soon parted. And who would be the fool in question? Huh? Why, if it isn't one of the heroes of the final days. This isn't about the map I sold to your companion, is it? You'll find it points to the way to the vault of Alvadel III, exactly as described. I may have employed a few, creative methods to entice my customers, but what merchant doesn't? I'm not here about the map. In fact, I should thank you for that. You're not? But of course, why would you be? Well, what can I do for one of our vaunted heroes? We're after the Justiciar. Choice of quarry is unusual, to say the least. But perhaps I can help you along, eh? A young man came asking for a map to open the way to Uznair. I told him every map I had, assuring him that the one he needed was among them. I suppose he found it, as I hear these letters that were handed out contain a copy of a map. I dare say that young fellow was the Justiciar himself, and he's planning a clandestine meeting in the Uznair canals. Mind you, it appears he has no shortage of enemies. No doubt they'll try to interfere. Thankfully, Razat Han isn't known for large-scale criminal organizations, but that hasn't kept the less scrupulous citizens from dirtying their hands when times are desperate. From what I hear, bandits seeking to rob trade caravans keep running into the Justiciar during his fiend-felling exploits, causing their raids to end in failure. Like as not, they'll try to infiltrate his group of followers and settle the score. Oh, cool, so he's putting more people in danger. And that's where my knowledge of the matter ends. If you're wondering where this meeting place is, all I remember is that the spot marked on the copied maps is somewhere in the Shroud of Samga. So, does that answer your queries? Yes, sir, it does. It's actually not that far from here. I wish the movement would last a little longer. Hello. Those in support of the Justiciar didn't seem surprised when I told them of his misdeeds. But still, they were reluctant to betray him. Sure, I've had no luck. What about you, Kokoze? They're meeting up in the Shroud of Samga. Your investigative abilities never cease to amaze me. As for this gathering Virazan is planning, I expected some scheme to prop up his flagging popularity. Even so, many of his devotees are younglings ill-equipped to make the perilous journey to the meeting place. If they have any sense, rather than attempt to travel there directly, they'll stop at settlements along the way to rest and confirm the route. You said the map led into the Shroud of Samga, yes? That means Palaka Stand is the closest settlement. I hear many took refuge there during the final days, and it's now a bustling town in its own right. The arrival of more people would hardly raise eyebrows, making it the perfect place to avoid unwanted attention while they make ready. We should head there before they leave on the final leg of their journey. Palaka Stand, it looks like. I was right, Kokoze. Many of the youths are carrying pieces of parchment. Those must be the letters. It would seem my reputation has preceded me. Our suspected followers clearly avoid me whenever I try to approach them. Still, we can use this to our advantage. None of them would dare leave Palaka Stand while there's risk I might follow after. I'll keep watch over their comings and goings, but we'll make sure to leave obvious blind spots. If one of the Justiciar's followers attempts to escape the village, I need you to go after them. Now, find a vantage point that affords a good view while keeping you hidden. Once you started pursuing our unwilling target, I won't be far behind. Oh, that doesn't sound good. And we have our Patsy. Oh boy, more following. You literally cannot see me from here. So we're just dispensing with the bullshit and running then? No. Like, where's the thing? The portal should be nearby. Then I'll finally meet him. What? You're the hero who saved us in the final days. What are you doing here? I'm here to find the Justiciar. So you're working alongside that woman I saw at the village? I've heard about the rumors she's spreading, but I had no idea she had enlisted your aid. The Justiciar saved me, you see. I was transporting goods for a local merchant who was too miserly to even hire a proper escort. A ferocious creature ambushed me, but my savior appeared from nowhere and saw off the beast. I owe him my life. That's why I came here, to see if there's any truth to the rumors. But now I understand I'm in over my head. I'm going back home. Here, you can have the map. I trust you to take the measure of the Justiciar and to share the truth with us all. Apologies for watching from the shadows, but I was afraid my presence might have startled the lad. I was able to hear what he said, though, and his gratitude towards the Justiciar seemed genuine. Dare say the other followers feel similarly. Well, now that we have a map of our own, let's open the portal and confront Virazan. It's actually the canals. So, for those who may not be aware, this is one of the dungeons you go into when you're treasure hunting. Doesn't exactly seem like a joyous occasion. Also, there's rocks everywhere. And oh look, the man himself. What a sight. Did the treasure cost this? Oh my, if it isn't the hero who saved Razat Han, nay, the world itself. Never expected someone so vaunted to attend my audience, but I am honored nonetheless. Enough of your games, Virazon. Stop this madness at once. After giving you such a warm welcome, these are the thanks I get? While 'tis true that I once was known by that name, 'twas merely a guise I wore until I discovered my true self. So long as I am the masked hero of Razat Han, I shall not suffer any to call me Virazon. But that is your name, isn't it? A hero should take pride in their name. It would seem that Justiciar's meager alter ego has been brought to light. But will he shrink once more into the shadows of mundane obscurity, or embark on the next chapter of his legend? The lemon lime hair. Very well. My name shall ring throughout Razat Han. Let it be known that the Justiciar is Virazon, and Virazon is the Justiciar. What are you saying? You unleashed the purge of the Apex upon your own followers? You know its name. Wait, I remember you. Girl from Jacques Terral, yes? Your village's artifact is not discriminating in its wrath. Some among my followers harbored wicked intentions, and it brought sorrow into my enemies. The true of heart caught in the aftermath were merely unfortunate. But they believed in you, even though you tricked them. What kind of hero are you? Fight time? You too would oppose me. I had thought that as fellow saviors we might find some common ground. It would seem we are destined to walk different paths. Now faced with an unknown peril, a great fervor rages within me. However, here is not where we shall match wits. No, a more fitting battleground is in order. We will meet again soon, you have my word. Ah, shut up! Nailed him. Oh, please tell me that knocked him out. Yeah, shut up. So can you tell us what happened here? He gathered us all around and made a grand speech. Claimed he was the hero that would drive back the flood of fiends threatening Thavnir. Then he spoke of his anger at the recent rumors. Told us to go forth and repair his damaged reputation so that the people would love him again. Became quite impassioned, in fact. As for us two, we were here to teach him a lesson, biding our time until his back was turned. We couldn't stomach his self-righteous drivel any longer. He acts like he's a god come to grace Thavnir, but most people have grown wise to his tricks, including the Radiant Host. We stepped forward and told him as much, then demanded that he admit he's been pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. That's when he started waving that thing about. We soon learned that the rumors of his power were true, and rocks started falling down around us. Even as true believers were not spared, there was nowhere to run. The Justiciar said such power cannot be fettered, and that sacrifices are unavoidable, and all the while, he was laughing. Pleaded with him for mercy, but that just made him angrier. He flourished the object again, and yet more rocks assailed us. It was horrible. Stones big and small raining down endlessly. Until you two appeared, that is. Thank you for telling us what happened. I only wish we could have arrived sooner. Now, just to set things straight, it was you two that brandished your weapons first, yes? Well, I won't deny that, but we were only trying to bring the truth of his misdeeds to light. Though we might have had some personal scores to settle on top of that. Before I left Palaka's stand, I asked the Radiant host there to look out for anyone returning from the wilderness. I suggest you head there and seek the raid. While you're there, share with them what you just told us. And as for the pair of you, don't even think about running away, or you'll have us to deal with. She's like, okay, okay. Everyone has returned to the care of the Radiant host. As for those ruffians who meant to attack Virazon, seems they had a history of violence for which they may soon answer. Several among Virazon's followers were dealt serious wounds, but we can be grateful that none lost their lives. It's exactly as the old saying describes. The master of the Apex shall be showered with good fortune, yet leave only sorrow in their wake. The part about sorrow certainly seems true, at least. We can but hope that Virazon's spell over the people will be broken at last when word of what transpired here becomes common knowledge. Let that buoy our spirits as we return to Yedlimad. Return to Yedlimad. So I'm not flying all the way there. Yep. To Peke. Yeah, that was certainly an ordeal. Though Virazon got away, we can look back upon what transpired to plan our next course of action. It appears that the treasure takes rocks from the surrounding environment and makes them rain down upon the wielder's surroundings. However, the power seems to be somewhat haphazard. While Virazon himself wasn't struck, the boulders assailed friend and foe alike. Something else has been nagging at me as well. The stones we saw in the canal seem quite a bit larger than the others. I don't know what to make of it, but I will give it some thought. Still don't know exactly how he controls the Apex's abilities either. We must focus on these mysteries as we continue our investigation. As for Virazon himself, he was just as his father said, wasn't he? His so-called heroism is an empty charade, like a child being a hero from their storybooks. He seemed motivated by a vain desire to gain the love of the people, yet he cared nothing for their well-being. He'll learn his lesson soon enough, though. None will sing his praises after word of what happened at Uznair spreads. Even he must know this. I worry that his desperation will drive him to worse misdeeds. If the treasure is used with reckless abandon, it could cause untold harm. And we must discuss this with the Radiant host. Together we might be able to capture Virazon before he attempts anything drastic. Stand by for now, Kokose. I'll be in touch the moment I have something to share. Let's complete the long road to Jacques Tarot. Ah. Which I think is actually the next one I have to do. Funny enough. So, thank you all so much for joining me. If you liked this video, leave a like and a comment. If you want to see more, hit subscribe to the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.